what do you do when you just have a few seconds to decide and someone else's life depends on that decision? I have faced this question many times in crisis situations in the past 3 decades. Situations where you get no second chances, where the decisions that you make have to be taken in seconds, and those decisions stay with you for a lifetime. And what I've realized over all these years is that it is rarely the loudest or the most qualified person in the room that makes a difference. It is the one who silently, instinctively chooses to act. I'm Major General Sanjay Sharma, and today I will be sharing some of my experiences that transformed my perspective on leadership. The year was 2016. A civilian bus coming from Srinagar to Jammu was attacked by terrorists. Armed terrorists entered a bus at a bus stop and started shooting. Among the passengers was a young mother with her 2 children. One was 4 years, and the other one in her arms was 2 years. When the shooting began, she did what any mother would do. She pushed the older child under the seat and she turned to shield the younger one in her arms. The mother took the bullets meant for her children. 45 minutes later, we received her at the military hospital. She was unconscious, barely a pulse, no recordable blood pressure. Her hemoglobin was 1 gram. We did not know whether she would survive. We looked around at the other patients, other casualties around. One had already died. The others were struggling to live. Now, this was no longer just surgery. It was a moment to choose. Someone told us there were more casualties on the way coming to the hospital. Now, in trauma surgery, we are trained to make these difficult decisions. Who can be saved? Who needs immediate intervention? Who, despite our best efforts, may not survive? I had only seconds to decide. Do we let the mother go and focus on the ones more likely to survive? Or do we fight for a life that seemed almost gone? I remember feeling afraid that I would make the wrong decision. We did a quick assessment of the other casualties, and I assessed that the other casualties would probably hold on for a bit longer, but the mother wouldn't. We decided to operate on her. Within seconds, there was clarity. Blood was arranged, the operating room prepared, every member of the team stepped into position. We operated, and she responded. 5 surgeries and 6 months of recovery later, the mother walked out of the hospital holding her child's hand. And that day, I learned an important lesson of leadership in crisis: clarity. Clarity is not about having all the answers. It is about recognizing what matters most right now and having the courage to act on it. Let me take you back in time a little to 2015. A massive earthquake had struck Nepal. Thousands of people were killed. An Indian Army medical team was deployed for rescue ops. A young major was in charge of that team. They pulled out 2 severely injured women from under the debris. They were barely alive. He resuscitated them, but to have a chance at survival, they needed immediate evacuation to a hospital. He looked around. There was chaos everywhere. No ambulances in sight. No one to ask. Just then, he heard a helicopter landing nearby. Someone told him there was no way he could ask the minister. Protocol told him, just wait. Hierarchy told him, do not approach this situation. But the clock said, act now or you will lose these patients. The young major walked up to the minister, interrupted his briefing, and asked, Sir, we have two severely injured casualties. May we have your helicopter? The senior minister's answer was immediate. Yes. Thanks to that courageous question from the major, lives were saved that day. And that brings me to my second lesson in crisis: initiative. In crisis, what I've realized is that the greatest barriers to us taking action are rarely external. They are really limitations of our own minds. Sometimes fear of being refused or our hesitation stops us from taking action. But your instinct will always push you to do the right thing. We must listen to it. Now, let me take you back further to 1993. I was a young captain then, and we were patrolling the snowy heights of Pir Panjal ranges in Jammu and Kashmir, about 12 to 14,000 feet high. It had snowed the previous night, and that snow was now melting and turning to slush. The ridge that we were walking on was very unstable and full of slippery slopes. One wrong step here could be just fatal. And then one of our young officers slipped. Within seconds, he was hanging from a shrub, hundreds of feet above a vertical drop. For a moment, everyone froze. And then a Havaldar, nearly 20 years into service, stepped forward. No orders, no discussion. He made his way down that slippery slope. He carved a foothold next to the officer on the side of the hill, put his foot there, and he told the officer, Saab, step on my foot and climb up. The officer climbed, and we pulled both of them up. A life was saved that day. That Havaldar was retiring in the next 6 months. His daughter's wedding was coming up. He had everything to lose and nothing to gain. Later that evening, when I met him, I asked him, you have a family, you have responsibilities, then why did you do it? He simply looked at me, and I never forgot what he said. He said, Saab, this is also my family. There is a saying by William Wordsworth that says, the best portion of a good man's life, his nameless, unremembered little acts of kindness and love. There were no cameras on that mountain that day. No awards, no recognition. And that day taught me another important lesson of leadership in crisis: ownership. Leadership is not about your rank or your title. It is ownership, especially when no one is watching you. It is taking responsibility, stepping forward without waiting for any orders and saying, this is also my family. This is mine to act on. Over the years, what I have realized is crisis does not give you courage. It demands that you choose between the courage to lead and the hesitation to act. You don't always need these extraordinary circumstances to be an extraordinary leader. You may never have to deal with a person hanging from a cliff or victims of terrorism, but one day, in your office, in your home, in your university, in your boardroom, seconds will decide. When uncertainty clouds your mind, will you have the clarity to decide? When protocol of fear tells you to wait, will you have the initiative to ask? And when someone else's future or dignity hangs in the balance, will you have the ownership to step forward and say, this is also my family. When seconds decide, will you be the one to take the lead? Because what you do then will decide who you truly are. Thank you.